By now you got to be telling yourself, hey, that you've been through the worst, everything's got to be going better from now on, right? Well, sort of. You know, just other than the dirt. Look, we got a flat Gibbs this time. Nothing warped there. Alright, huh? We got Oilers. Get on the waves. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And you got that. Junk. You got your wipes. Not even lined. And what good are they if they're not lined up? Those aren't half bad. This one, not even close. Shouldn't there be something? Some felt on there? Something to make it actually be a wipe? And then, oh man. That's the best place to have a casting void, isn't it? Honestly, you can't tell if they tried filling some, putting something in there to fill it up or what. Hey, at least this screw is pretty straight. I'll end up doing the same thing with this handle as I did with the other one. Put a few ball bearings in behind it. Oh, some more casting voids. At least these edges are a lot smoother than the last one. Nothing too bad there. The nut, yep, it was tight. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't tight. They only give you 2 bolts to hold it in versus the Harbor Freight mini lathe where it had, wait, this only gives you 1, where the Harbor Freight has 2 that you can adjust it to get rid of any backlash. More cleaning, more what the... Well, I think I've gone as far as I can with this cross slide. It's not perfect, but it is a whole lot better than what it was. I mean, there's really nothing I can do with this part back here where it's really messed up. But it's nice and smooth. And it did take quite a bit more work than I had originally thought. Had to get a little bit more aggressive with the lapping and use some valve grinding compound. But it's nice and smooth. It's a whole lot better. And I think it'll be good in future use. One thing I alluded to in a previous video was putting ball bearings on the handles so I'd have a 3-point contact. So when I'm turning them, you know, it makes everything a whole lot easier. Well, I changed things up a little bit. This is the cross slide. I'm sorry, this is the compound. And I had taken this bracket off and I was able to chuck it up in my 3-jaw lathe and bore this hole out to 22 millimeters and press fit this 608 roller bearing inside. And because I had initially drilled this, put those ball bearing, just the bearings themselves, into this handle, I had to go in there, cut everything out from behind the bearings so I could pop the dang bearings out, and then I just made a piece from some scrap metal I had laying around here, press fitted into that, had to cut the new groove for the key. And now with that sitting on there, if I can get it lined up with the key there, it is a whole lot better. I mean, you can still hear a little, and probably what I should have done was, I don't know if you can see that, I put the bearing flush with the inside of this piece, and I should have moved it outward just a hair, but I was hoping that new piece that I made, and I obviously cut that down just a smidge too far. If that would have been out just a hair longer, it would be contacting that bearing, and you wouldn't hear any of the rubbing that I'm hearing now. But it is a whole lot better, though, let me tell you. And then you get a spinning handle on there and go to town. So what I'll probably end up doing is just taking this bracket back off, popping the bearing out, cleaning everything up again that I used to glue it in there with, and then just a smidge more. And here's what I did with the cross slide. Same thing on this end, same 608 roller bearing. I left it protruding just a little bit. And on the other side, I purchased a thrust bearing. Now these are 8mm inside diameter, 16 outside, and they're supposed to be 5mm thick. Let me check here. Yep, 5mm. I was able to chuck this up in my 3-jaw lathe, get that hole centered, and bore it out on both sides without any issues. I took a little shim, I think, down here, but other than that, it went in there and just could wiggle it up a little bit, and she went true. She ran true. I did have to bore this a little deeper than the 5mm so that the hardened end of that thrust bearing set below this face, because once you install it on the cross slide, if it stuck out, it would bind itself up and be really hard to crank. I think that's it for this. Oops, sorry. I am going to change out all the nuts. When I was having that other issue on the compound, I was screwing in and out the nut that came on it, and you can just watch it wiggle and wobble on there. So it wasn't holding the handle on there straight. I just ran down to the store and picked up some 8mm by 1.25 nuts, and I'll Loctite all those on there. And I think that's about it for this. The next thing I have going on is replacing the spindle bearings. I should have them tomorrow, but I don't think it'll be for another couple days before I'll have access to a press to press them on and off. I was able to get the spindle apart with just a hammer, but I want to press it back together to ensure that I don't do anything with the new bearings.